So John Wayne did a lot of interesting stuff in the last third of his career, and conceptually, this was a great idea on paper. But even though it was a good movie, it didn't hit the heights that he and the producers wanted. It's called Brannigan. This is a 75 action thriller directed by Douglas Hickok and starred John Wayne, the great Richard Attenborough, Judy Geeson. Set principally in London, the film is about a Chicago detective played by Wayne sent to Britain to organize the extradition of American mobster. Now it had what he called overtones of Dirty Harry and a little bit of, the violence of Long Good Friday. And this mobster soon kidnapped and held for ransom. Struggling with the restrained policing style of his British counterparts, the tough American detective used his own brand of law enforcement to recapture the criminal. This was one of many Dirty Harry type films released in the wake of that film's success, featuring road cops who don't play by the rules. Brannigan was filmed on location in London and at Shepperton Studios and Panavision in deluxe color. One of the screenwriters was Dalton Trumbo's son, Christopher. It was the only British produced film of Wayne's 50-year career. Now, the film was distributed by UA on March 26, 75 in the States and on June 12th in the UK. It received mixed reviews from critics and was to many a commercial disappointment, even though it wasn't too bad of a movie. Now, co-screenplay writers besides Trumbo were Michael Butler, William P. McGivern, and William L. Norton. Story by Trumbo and Michael Butler. Produced by Arthur Gardner and Jules Levy, with the great Mel Ferrer and John Vernon, and of all people, Daniel Pilon playing characters. Jerry Fisher cinematography. Production company was Levi Gardner Lavin and Batchak Productions. March 21st in Chicago release, March 26th in US, 12th of June in 75, almost 2 hours. And a very, very, again, more procedural than anything else, with a little bit of film noir. Now, again, this one, tough Chicago Police Lieutenant Jim Brannigan is sent to London to extradite the notorious American mobster, Ben Larkin. Brannigan assigned a local officer, Detective Sergeant Jennifer Thatcher, to help while he's in London. But before Brannigan collects his man, Larkin is kidnapped. Larkin's finger, of all things, is cut off and mailed to the police to prove how serious the kidnappers are. Shades of Black Mirror. The mobster's lawyer, Mel Fields, tries to arrange a ransom drop while Brannigan makes his way around London in search of Larkin. While struggling to adapt to the British way of life and the restrained style of policing, he employs techniques not usually seen in Britain. In the meantime, a contract has already been put out upon Brannigan's life by Larkin, so a hitman named Gorman tails Brannigan in a black Jaguar, making several attempts to kill him and nearly shooting Thatcher by mistake. Metro Police Commander Charles Swan, in charge of helping get Larkin to America, is a stuffy, tilted, upper-class administrator who's not afraid to get his hands dirty. There is a continual conflict between Brannigan and Swan about the Americans carrying and use of his 38 Colt Diamondback revolver. Permitted to go alone to deliver the ransom payment, Fields personally eliminates the kidnappers. He and Larkin celebrate having pulled off a scheme to get the money, and Larkin called the loss of a finger a small price to pay. Brannigan bursts in to foil their plans. As he and Jennifer walk away, Gorman tries to mow him down to his car, but he's shot by Brannigan, who can now return home to Chicago. So, Big Jim Brannigan of the Chicago PD, John Wayne, Commander Sir Charles Swan, Richard Attenborough, Judy Geeson played Jennifer, Mel Ferrer as Mel Fields, John Vernon as Ben Larkin, Daniel Pilon as Gorman, Ralph Meeker as Captain, the beautiful Leslie Ann Down as Luna, and Catherine Lee Scott, one of my favorite actresses, as Miss Allen, and Tony Robinson as a dispatch courier. Now, the script was originally written under the title Joe Battle in the early 60s and was set in the Near East. The roles of Swan and Thatcher were originally intended for Ralph Richardson and Diana Rigg. Richardson reportedly bowed out at the last minute, but is quoted saying that John Wayne should try the works of Shakespeare, saying he's hypnotic. He conveys a sense of mystery, and that's invaluable in Shakespeare. Filmed on location in London and Shepperton Studios during 1974, along with The Quiet Man, is the only John Wayne film not produced in the States. The film's action sequences included a car chase to Battersea's Shaftesbury and Winstanley Estates, Wandsworth and Central London, featuring Brannigan jumping a yellow Ford Capri coupe across the half-raised Tower Bridge. The jump itself was accomplished with scale models of both the bridge and the car. Ford supplied most of the vehicles used in the film, which came from their press fleet. One sequence features shots of the interior and exterior of London's Royal Automobile Club, which has changed little since the shooting of the film. The Capri's Jump was one of the last significant appearances of Tower Bridge, with its red, white, and blue paint scheme, which was applied in 77 to commemorate the Silver Jubilee of Elizabeth II. A fight sequence was filmed in the Lamb Tavern in Leadenhall Market, and the E-Type Jaguar that Gorman drives in the film still exists and is in the hands of a private collector today. Conversely, the film's opening sequence and first several minutes displays Chicago's roadways, riverside buildings, and an early O'Hare Terminal 1 that have all been raised and replaced. For example, the film opens on a squad car making the former turn on Upper Lakeshore Drive, where East Wacker Drive now exists, and where the field drive had been planned to intersect. Now, it also has a interesting piece of footage for an image site of the Garrett Club, which traditionally does not allow cameras and was only agreed to as Richard Attenborough was a long-term member. In a scene in which Brannigan and Ken Swan are at the bar in the Garrett Club, on the wall behind him are portraits of Laurence Olivier and John Gielgud, both in Garrett Club ties. Now, after a Chicago police officer was depicted in an unflattering light in the episode of M Squad back in the 50s, then Mayor Richard Daley thereafter discouraged motion picture and TV location filming in the city for arrest administration and its aftermath. Brannigan is one of the few films, along with Cooley High, to have been approved and granted police assistance during that two-decade era, but who can turn down John Wayne? Now, it holds a score of 49% on Rotten Tomatoes based on 61 reviews. Unfortunately, it says Brannigan unsuccessfully attempts to blend John Wayne's roughness American persona with British crime caper flair, offering stale action and touristy London backdrops and leaving it feeling more flat than fun. Roger Ebert gave it 2 stars out of 4. New York Times didn't like it as well. However, Gene Siskel of Chicago Tribune awarded 3 stars out of 4 and noted, if you enjoy Wayne's He-Man antics, then Brannigan is your kind of flick. It's as simple as that. Kevin Thomas of the LA Times praised the film as a smart, lively thriller with a script that has an affectionate sense of fun, yet genuine respect for the mythical figure that John Wayne has become. Tom Shales didn't like it, called it a humdrum slugfest. Now, Richard Coombs of the monthly film Bulletin observed, after a sleek recapping of the Clint Eastwood formula in a credit sequence that is all-caressing close-up of the hero's revolver, Brannigan spends most of his time hastily backpedaling in order to find some coverable old-fashioned niche in the formula for its star. In fact, the film becomes more and more a throwback, and everything from Brannigan's chase relationship with his girl Friday to his abrasive partnership with his opposite number from Scotland Yard. Now, Wayne did turn down Dirty Harry, by the way, and seeing the subsequent success of that film, Wayne made 2 police thrillers, McHugh in 74 and his Cop Out of the Water film in 75. Now, filmmakers Quentin Tarantino and Edgar Wright has said it's one of their favorites and have praised the film for its action sequences. Now, it was released on DVD in 2001, and the film is also available through Amazon.com in a 2-pack with Killer Force, and it was released for first time on Blu-ray through Screen Archives Entertainment in 2014. The British Film Institute, BFI, released Brannigan on Blu-ray for the first time in the UK on August 21st, 2023. Now, considering this is, again, one of John Wayne's last films, that is before the shootist, before his cancer got in control, it's for what it is, it's a John Wayne movie, and you should check it out. I give it 3 stars out of 4. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing here with our John Wayne movie tributes, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share. And, of course, requests are always appreciated on the channel and always highly considered.